Industrial Talk is brought to you by Neom. That's Neom. Go out to neom.com. They have a vision of changing the world for the better in almost every way. They are committed to that. They have a bold, a brave, and daring greatly vision on how to change the world for the better for all of us. They are committed to that. Go out to neom.com, get involved. You will be dazzled, and you will not be disappointed. Big thinking going on there. And you know what's happening out there? Technology, innovation. It is happening everywhere, and the speed at which is just absolutely blistering. You know who's leading the way? Intel. That's right, Intel. They are leading the way with Edge, cloud, you name it. Industry 4.0 right in their wheelhouse. Smart cities? Yes. Robotics? Yes. And let's say digital transformation of the utilities? Yes. Intel is where you want to go. Go out to intel.com, find out more, and see how they can help you innovate.
Welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast with Scott McKenzie. Scott is a passionate industry professional dedicated to transferring cutting-edge, industry-focused innovations and trends while highlighting the men and women who keep the world moving. So put on your hard hat, grab your work boots, and let's go.
All right, welcome again to Industrial Talk, the number one location in the universe that celebrates you, industrial heroes. You are bold, you are brave, you dare greatly, you solve problems, you innovate like no other, and you are changing lives and the community. Do not forget that. Put that in your pocket because it is important, because you gotta believe we need you big, big time. In the hot seat, in the Industrial Talk hot seat, we have Sahar Ehsani. She is with Intel. We are talking about manufacturing and technology. She is a senior segment market lead, Discrete Manufacturing. And you know what we're going to be talking about? Yep, AI, machine vision, sustainability, and how all of that works together. Let's get cracking. So you get to join me on my educational odyssey to learn from the very best in industry. How about that, man? You get to join me. You got incredible professionals such as Sahar, and she knows what she's talking about, and also people from Intel and others that are just absolutely, one, thank goodness that they desire to truly develop the innovations to be able to make our lives better. Thank goodness. And you know what else is so great? It's that they're willing to share their insights and wisdom for us so that we can begin to learn. You never stop learning. Each day, always learn. I don't know. It doesn't sound so fantastic, but it is. You got to. It's all out there. And especially in industry, we've got to do that. All right. Let's talk a little bit about the Industrial Academy. Real quick, the Industrial Academy is absolutely dedicated to education. And the reason it's dedicated to education is because, well, that's something nobody can really take away from you. If you are dedicated, if you are committed, if you have a true desire to learn from the very best within industry, Industrial Academy is where you want to be. Because we're talking about management leadership, we're talking about innovation, we're talking about the nuts and bolts of operations, and what are the strategies associated with it. Not in a way that is like, oh my gosh, this is a 75-hour class and it'll drive you crazy. No. The responsibility on your part is, one, that you get the flavor. You get to hear from the best that represents, let's say, IoT or edge or cloud or reliability, whatever it might be, the best. And it's up to you, because you have a spirit of learning, is to go out and find out more. All the contacts and information is out there. It is a big, big win for you. Continue to learn, grow, and just, be the best you possibly can be. Because for whatever reason, maybe I've got rose-colored glasses. I can't tell you why. But I really, truly, in my heart of hearts, believe that industry is truly the key that can change lives, change communities, and change the world. And it might be Pollyanna. It might be over the top. I like bold, brave goals. And the Industrial Academy is focused on being able to provide industrial education for people who need to know so that their lives can be changed, their companies can be changed, their communities can be changed, and so on, and so the world. All right. Let's get going. I get all tingly about that type of conversation. Now, Sahar, it's been a bit of a long journey to get her on the podcast, but fear not, she does not disappoint. Great conversation, great insight, great stuff that's happening at Intel. I've got her form here. You go out and find her stat card, all very impressive. So we're going to be talking, and you're going to say, Scott, we've already talked about AI. Yeah, we have, but it never stops. Continues to grow, continues to evolve. We never stopped. We've talked about machine vision, looking at the ability to look at parts and improve the quality and so on and so forth. And of course, sustainability. What does that mean? How does all this wonderful innovation help sustainability? Because it always has to sort of work hand in hand. If there's a gap that is missing from that particular value chain, well, that's a problem. But Intel, Sahar, Team Intel, are working diligently, not just in manufacturing, but also in the energy space, in oil and gas, all of that, everything that you could possibly, at the heart, Intel's right there. All right, enjoy this particular interview with Sahar. Sahar, welcome to Industrial Talk. How are you doing?
Doing very well. How are you, Scott?
It's been a long time in the making to try to get you on the podcast.
Yeah, sorry, it's my bad on my side.
Yeah, you don't need to cower away from me. I was so excited when we first met, and but business moves on. People get busy. It's all about that. But you're here right now, and listeners, you're going to be impressed. She's got a mad stat card out there on LinkedIn. Absolutely. Of course, I'm looking at her form, and it's impressive too. So you listen up. Learn, educate with me, because I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but Sahar is. She's a sharp tool in the shed. All right, for the listeners, Sahar, give us a little background on who you are.
Absolutely. First of all, it's a pleasure to be here, Scott, and have this conversation with you. I'm very excited for this conversation. And about myself, I'm the global segment lead for discrete manufacturing industry at Intel IoT Group. So basically what I've been doing along my career in Intel and outside of Intel, I've been engaged with manufacturing all my career. And in my current role, what I do is working with partner and manufacturing and customers to facilitate and accelerate the digital transformation that's taking place currently around the globe.
It is, listeners.
Yeah, it's really awesome. It's very exciting. We are just in the front of the line and helping everyone to make those sci-fi and
it's the future, baby, and the future is now, man. It's now.
Exactly. All those things that we were seeing in the movies is now happening, and it's very exciting.
It is. I was just watching Minority Report, and some of the things that they're going through, it's like, oh, that's happening now. Oh, that's cool. Oh, it's pretty exciting. Now, I'm not again, we've established I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. Can you define discrete manufacturing? How's that different than, manufacturing?
Absolutely, yes. So when we look at the manufacturing overall, we can divide it to 2 or 3 segments. Let's say 3 segments for the simplicity. One is discrete manufacturing, when you will have individual product as an outcome, but those products can be assembled through bringing different parts from different locations in one place. They can be built all in one place, or they can be built around the globe, the parts, and get assembled, like automotive industries,
right?
Like consumer goods, like electronic devices. So all those parts, some can be made in China, some in Vietnam, etc. They come all to an assembly facility and they get assembled. And after their life is done, you can disassemble them again and recycle them. But when it comes to the hybrid, that's another section of manufacturing. Hybrid, which is the process and discrete manufacturing together, it has like some sort of batch processing, like food and beverage. So, for example, if you mix two chemicals with each other for pharmaceutical, you need to continue that process. You cannot stop it. You cannot ship it to somewhere else around the world because
That's
you don't
true.
have. That's part of the process industry, but batch processing, because things get prepared in batches, and then at the end of the day, they get packaged, which is part of the discrete manufacturing. That's why they call them hybrid. The other one is continuous process manufacturing, like oil and gas.
Right.
If you dig a well of oil, you cannot stop it. That needs to continue, and you need to take care of those processes. They call it continuous processing.
I like it. That's a good explanation. Now, listeners, you're better because of that explanation. Now you know. Don't come to me and say, Scott, I don't know. All right. One of the topics that we're going to be talking about and what we're going to feature on this particular conversation is going to be talking about AI, AI's application to manufacturing and artificial intelligence, this machine vision stuff. Give us a little, just sort of your definition of artificial intelligence and its application in manufacturing.
Absolutely. Let me give you a little bit background on bringing in this technology to manufacturing overall. We want to make manufacturing smarter. We know in some of those manufacturing, like automotive, there are lots of automations already going on. We know manufacturing, like silicon manufacturing, like silicon chip, like Intel. When you look at their factories, it's really well automated. So what this AI is really bringing to the table for those very fully automated manufacturing. When you add AI, basically you leverage tons of data that is being generated by those automatic devices. So you get that data, you analyze it, you make a decision based on the result of that. So that's what artificial intelligence does. If you get the result, and immediately as a control loop, feed the information back to the manufacturing line. That's a closed loop control. And during that, you have the real-time control of the manufacturing production. And then all of this together improves the manufacturing processes and efficiencies. It improves manufacturing uptime, right? So if we want to look at the strategy of how this technology are coming to the manufacturing world, I believe personally, AI and machine vision are going to be the front of the line because they are easy additions to the already existing technologies in manufacturing, whether very advanced manufacturing like auto or semiconductor, or very manual type of manufacturing like machine builders. So you can add, or part builders or textile companies in China. So let me explain a little bit about how AI works.
But let me interrupt real quick. So what I hear you saying is that it starts with the ability to collect data, but there's a tsunami of data, for lack of a better term. Scott, I'm not going to go through a spreadsheet to look at all the data that's coming off of machines or the line. I need some technology to help facilitate and make some decisions that allow good data to come through and throw away the bad data. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. That's absolutely true. And that's artificial intelligence. So you connect the unconnected if they are not connected already, and then you collect the data and you analyze the data. And based on that analysis that happens automatically, you make a decision what you want to do next.
Is there a learning component to AI? It's one thing I can create parameters. I would imagine, you're the expert. I can create parameters that certain data gets through. Can I learn and hone and be more refining as I grow and be able to improve the analytics of that data for my business.
Absolutely, yes. That's the machine learning aspect of it. So the algorithm that you add to the compute that is running that algorithm, basically, it gets better and better with more data. One of the main challenges that we currently have in the manufacturers that they have a very high yield is finding bad parts. Because if you want a device to locate a bad part in a production line, you first need to teach that algorithm what a bad part is. So if manufacturer has a very high yield, means that they do not produce so many bad data. So sometimes it takes 3 months to collect bad data in order to train that algorithm. And those algorithms, they get better over time as we get more data through them.
And I would imagine, Sahar, that if I want to be competitive going forward, if I want to be that, I want to have some sort of legacy sustainability when it comes to my business, I'm going to have to embrace this. I'm going to have to figure it out. But you know what the problem I have, and help me understand this, I just think of costs. I think it's going to be expensive. I know today what I'm looking at. And if you're telling me I got to go down this road, I don't have that clarity. What's the economics behind all this?
That's a very reasonable, actually, concern by any type of manufacturing managers or executives. So we are living in a very competitive world. All the customers, they want perfect products, but cheaper. And everyone is trying to
True.
So in order to keep that profit margin for manufacturers and keep our business running, we need to have solutions that make business sense. And usually that's why that I was thinking that AI and machine vision powered by AI are best solution to start with, because you don't need to change much on your manufacturing line. You just add the machine vision, you assess the quality of your devices, and usually within 8 to 12 months, you get a positive ROI.
See, that's spectacular. You know, that is without spectacular. Yeah. I mean, if I had, I was evaluating investments that had a 3 to 5 payback, right? Mm-hmm. Took 3 to 5 years just to start looking at things that are positive. And that's pretty common. Now, I don't want to gloss over this. Explain what machine vision is.
Yes. Let me explain what machine vision is. So let's imagine that you have a factory line that has a product and you want to inspect it. You put a camera on it and you connect the camera to a piece of compute, and machine vision actually is capturing those images and analyzing those images through AI algorithm on that compute. So there are different type of technologies being used. Anomaly detection is one of the paths that people take. Basically, looking into good and bad data. The good data you don't mind. You just say good data could go away. You don't want to keep them. But the bad data you can locate and you can say this part is bad. So that's how machine vision works. By taking images and being connected to compute that has AI algorithm on it.
So this is how I see it happening. This is how I see it rolling out. If I am able to deploy AI, deploy the machine vision in the right area, I might capture anomalies within my manufacturing quicker, compressing that time, not waiting for it to get shipped off to my customer, who then finds out that it's not in line with their specification, and have that absolutely awful conversation.
Yes, you nailed it. Those are the cost saving that we will get out of installation of machine vision. I'd like to add one more thing.
Yeah.
That on the machine vision, we do have two different type of machine vision. Machine vision technology is based on a camera and a separated PC, and then there are integrated a smart camera that they have a smarter chip, but it's integrated on a camera. So I want to be clear, if any of the audience they have the experience with the smart cameras, that compute piece and algorithm is embedded in the camera itself. But around the effect of it, that's very true. When you do the quality inspection in advance to the processes. Let's imagine you have a silicon chip that you need to place solder ball in, and it goes through mold, etc. Or I don't know, even in an automotive part, when you are welding something and then it goes and it gets painted. Now at the end of the line, when it's getting inspected and you see the defect on it, you need to do the rework on the whole car. It's a lot of manual engineering work, which is expensive. But if you had figured out that weld defection early on in the processes, you could just remove it because it's still fresh, and you can redo it then. So you don't have the removing the paint, etc. in an automotive industry. So that's one part of it. The other part is customer credibility. You don't want to send defective products to customers. That's not good nowadays for any of them.
It's not good for anybody. That's for doggone sure. For not good.
Absolutely.
See, you know what's interesting? I believe people like you and others, Intel, whatever, this strive to be able to produce produce solutions that generate high quality products. Okay. We consumer, me and others, I'm telling you right now, we take that for granted. We take that for granted. I remember growing up and I had a 57 Chevy. I still have it, by the way, 57 Chevy. There are things that I just sort of accepted. The door didn't close right. Doesn't matter. It's just it. We would never, ever tolerate any flaws or problems with our cars. Even the inexpensive cars have a high quality output. It's because of people like you.
Yes, absolutely. Because the world has changed. Computer is doing the job of human, and with this AI solution, they're really replacing those repetitive, boring jobs. It's not trying to take the jobs away from employees. Actually, those type of jobs are very repetitive, looking at every belt pieces to make sure that it's okay or not. You might miss it. It's just like boring. There is not advancement for employees. So they can really give those jobs to the computers and robots to do that for us, and they do it with more accuracy and faster.
But Sahar, you're bringing up an interesting point. And if I had a nickel every time somebody said, hey, that AI is going to take away my job, I always say it'll take away and deal with the mundane. But the intellectual component of your job must be done by you.
Exactly. Yes, absolutely. Actually, I think we need to look at it this way. Maybe in the older generation, some people got used to those repetitive jobs, and kind of, I would say, people like to do like normal things forever, but not new generation. These people, they really grew up with computers and cell phones, etc. Yeah. They don't like to work with 30-year-old technologies. They don't like to learn it, and they don't like to do a lot of physical job. So they really like to use their brain. They're into writing softwares and thinking about designs and innovation, etc. And this new technology is a great fit for them. While it's a great fit for those leveraging the learning and that vast experiences that they had in the older generation. So they learned all of that, they built the experiences, and now they need to transfer it to the newer generation. So some of this technology captures those learning as part of the AI solutions or trainings for this new generation. So those learning stays and would be leveraged years over years.
I don't see any of the options. If I'm manufacturing, if I'm small, mid, whatever my manufacturing business, I have to recognize that I have to go down this road. I can't say business as usual, given the realities of what's taking place in the market and the technology and the innovation that's coming out of Intel, right? I can't. And it's because if I do, then somebody's going to take over my job. Somebody is going to put me out of business because they're going to be more efficient, more competitive, greater quality, everything that I want as a consumer. I will not be able to meet that.
I can give you an example. You reminded me of a very good part of this technology adoption and transformation. a lot of small, medium companies, they really didn't want to be the first one of adopting Industry 4.0 in their manufacturers. They were waiting for others to adopt it, get the technology mature enough, and they start adopting it. And then suddenly, pandemic hit. And who got the most impacted? All these smaller and medium businesses. Now they're taking it more seriously in Germany, in Australia, even in China, because they figured out that a lot of manual processes are happening within their factories. And now because of the pandemic and all those closure of factories, they couldn't get send enough resources. And let me give you some use cases that just gives you the understanding of application. For example, previously, the machine builders who build the equipment for automotive companies or any other factories, pharmaceutical companies, etc., they would build the machine, sell it to them, and every year they would go to do software upgrade, or if there was issue, they would do the maintenance of equipment, send an employee there. During COVID, that couldn't happen. So the equipment would go down. But with AI and connectivity, they can have access to the machine data, not the processes data that has the IP of the manufacturers. They can only get access to machine data and how the machine is performing. And when they see something is not working out very well as expected, they catch it early. And they can do all these software upgrades, etc., remotely without sending an engineer. Just imagine how much of efficiency is in that just by adopting by adopting connectivity, let's say.
But see, this is interesting because that same, and we spoke briefly about this asset reliability. I could take that same asset, collect the data, recognize the challenge, deploy somebody in maintenance saying, okay, no, you need this screw, this round piece, and this whatever. You don't need anything else. That's what you need. Go out there, do it, done. That is so powerful.
It is
so impressive.
It is, and
it's happening now. It's now.
Yep. It's just
not pie in the sky, Buck Rogers stuff. No way, it isn't.
No.
All right. So tell me, what are the roadblocks? I mean, either I'm just sort of all geeking out on all this stuff, and I'm all in. But there are people that are pushing back. What is that roadblock? Why?
So actually, I think we talked about all of this goodness that technology is bringing to manufacturing, but how really can we make it real? It's not a one company's job. There's an ecosystem, and actually, I think that's a beauty of the work that Intel does. We work with a broad ecosystem from software companies who build the algorithm and is optimized on Intel silicon. We work with OEMs who are already leveraging our silicon, but we work with them to come up with flexible software-defined devices instead of fixed function devices. We work with manufacturers itself to understand their pain points and address it in a way that really puts that pain point in consideration, not because technology is cool and nice. It's related to business cases for them. So I think the main roadblock is moving in synchronized way all together, because we all need each other to enable this technology and make the commercial version available for the customers to be able to deploy it. We do have that ecosystem partners, and we do have some of the solutions that are already available, but there is still a long way to go.
Sahar, you hit the nail on the head. I'm always talking about, especially today, we need to collaborate. Not everybody has all the answers. No company has all the answers. No individuals have all the answers. And the only way that we're really going to continue to move forward in this brave new digital world, right, it is through collaboration. It is understanding problems. You're not going to just go out there and, hey, I'm building this widget and it does this, and nobody wants it because it doesn't do anything. It might solve something, I don't know. But it is all about collaboration, because you cannot innovate without that level of collaboration. You are absolutely on fire. Sahar. All right.
Absolutely.
Let's talk once again. We've got, we go out to Industrial Talk. We try to promote. And I know that you have some webinars coming up, but we don't have really any dates. So listeners, there are going to be some webinars that are going to be put on by Intel. And I think that it's important to be able to participate. Am I on point on there?
Yes, absolutely. We are going to have a series of webinars as part of Intel Industrial Solution Builders event. So we used to hold this in person, but because of the COVID, now it's virtual, and because we understand how people get bored quickly on virtual platform, we have these small, 1 hour webinars that we come with our partners, and we talk about the solution that are already available in the market. We talk about use cases, real world use cases, and we share the pain points and the path that these end customer manufacturing went through to find the right solution, right partner in collaboration. Fantastic webinar series is going to take place from beginning of October through mid-December. Please stay tuned, and we'll share the schedule with you.
And I'll be able to let people know, because that once again is an important conversation to have. And listeners, you just got to keep learning, because we're all about educating, collaborating, and innovating. And we've got to educate, and why not learn from? I learn from Intel because I can, and that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing.
Absolutely.
All right. Couple of questions. First off, I want to get a hold of you. How do I, as a listener, get a hold of you? What's the best way?
Absolutely. I'm on LinkedIn. Please feel free to send me messages, and I'll be more than happy to help. And I think that would be the best way, easiest and fastest in the world of technology.
It's an exciting time, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
There's a hobby that I like of myself. I like cooking. If you can believe that. I love cooking. I love it a lot. Can you share with me, because I'm such a bozo about this, a recipe? When I say recipe, what was one of your favorite foods growing up?
Oh, interesting. Well, I'm from Middle East and Iran specifically, so kebab is my favorite food. But
spell it.
So it's K-A-B-O-B.
Got it. Kebab.
Yes.
Okay. See, I love that stuff. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to cook some kebabs, and then I'm going to demonstrate that I support you, because I love cooking and I love that. You were fantastic.
Thank you.
Spot on. All right, listeners, we're going to have all the contact information for Sahar. We're going to also be able to just bear with me on the events that are being put out by Intel. They will be out there. Fear not. It'll all be out there. Thank you, Sahar. Thank you very much for joining Industrial Talk.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure. And as you know, we all are very passionate at Intel about technology, manufacturing, and the positive outcome that it brings to people.
Yeah, it's so funny. I'm not going to talk to people who are not passionate. I haven't, and fortunately for me, I haven't come across anybody that says, yeah, we're just deploying some AI. No, nobody does that. Everybody's like, yeah, man, we're doing this and we're doing that. And it's like, it's exciting. All right, listeners, thank you very much. We're going to be wrapping it up on this other side. Stay tuned.
You're listening to the Industrial Talk Podcast Network.
All right, a hearty, hearty thank you to Sahar. Team Intel and what they are doing in the world of manufacturing it's an exciting time. As I mentioned in the interview, exciting time, great time to be alive. Let's focus in on all of the positives that are taking place. And just remember, industry, you're changing worlds, you're changing lives. That means you are doing great things, and we need you. We need you to educate. That's, again, go out to Industrial Academy, right? It's out there on industrialtalk.com. And if you want to participate in it, great. If you want to be an instructor, great. I'll try to make it as easy as I possibly can. We've got to get your information, your insights, your wisdom out to the masses so that we can educate as many people as we possibly can of all the exciting stuff, all of the cool tech, all of the innovations that are taking place. Be bold, be brave, dare greatly. Hang out with bold, brave, and daring greatly. You're going to be changing the world. Thank you very much for joining Industrial Talk. We will be back with another great interview.